One of the most endearing of Plato's dialogues is his Symposium. This dialogue takes place at a dinner party, and it gives us various images of love. The height of the dialogue is Socrates' speech in which he lays out the ladder of beautiful objects that lead one up to beauty itself. However, it is the speech that follows his in which we are shown Socrates as the exemplar of the person who has traversed this whole series and is living in the light of true being. Alcibiades arrives late to the dinner party, just in time to add one more speech after Socrates completes his own. He decides that the only speech he cares to make is one in praise of Socrates. He tells Socrates, "It is no use your protesting, for I could not praise anyone else in your presence." Alcibiades' speech shows us Socrates as a man who perfectly embodies the four virtues. We see that at their fullest flowering, each can be distinguished, and yet all are in all. Alcibiades demonstrates this through the use of two different analogies. The first image he compares Socrates to is of a statue honoring the Silenus of Greek mythology, much like the statue you see here, only the ones that Alcibiades cites had two small doors in the front that opened to reveal images of gods. For I say he is likest to the Silenus figures that sit in the statuary shops. Those, I mean, which our craftsmen make with pipes or flutes in their hands. When their two halves are pulled open, they are found to contain images of gods. The second analogy Alcibiades employs is that of the satyr Marsyas. And I further suggest that he resembles the satyr Marsyas. Now, as to your likeness, Socrates, to these figures, I do not suppose even you yourself will dispute it. But I have next to tell you that you are like them in every other respect. Are you not a piper? Why, yes, and a far more marvelous one than the satyr. His lips indeed had power to entrance mankind by means of instruments. You differ from him in one point only, that you produce the same effect with simple prose, unaided by instruments. Some may see wisdom as what powers this magical ability to charm people. This is one example of wisdom, but I'm going to come back to this virtue later in the video. In regards to temperance or sophrosyne, Alcibiades used the image of the Silenus statue to drive this one home. He says of Socrates, "He is utterly stupid and ignorant as he affects. Is not this like a Silenus?" Exactly. It is an outward casing he wears, similarly to the sculptured Silenus. But if you opened his inside, you cannot imagine how full he is of sophrosyne. A bit later, Alcibiades tells of serving in the military with Socrates, and so witnessing firsthand the great philosopher's courage. Then, if you care to hear of him in battle, for there also he must have his due, on the day of the fight in which I gained my prize for valor from our commanders, it was he, out of the whole army, who saved my life. I was wounded, and he would not forsake me, but helped me to save both my armor and myself. And another account. I noticed first how far he outdid General Lacus in collectedness, and next I felt, to use a phrase of yours, Aristophanes, how there he stepped along, as his wont is in our streets, strutting like a proud marsh goose, with ever a sidelong glance, turning a calm sidelong look on friend and foe alike, and convincing anyone even from afar that he can put up a stout enough defense. The result was that both he and his comrade got away unscathed, for, as a rule, People will not lay a finger on those who show this disposition in war. It is men flying in headlong rout that they pursue. Alcibiades amused all the company present by telling them stories of Socrates ignoring his physical advances, choosing instead to engage in discussion. Alcibiades expresses outrage, and he acts insulted and embarrassed by this behavior. But he undoubtedly recognized Socrates' unwavering sense of justice in this behavior. Socrates treated everybody respectfully and fairly. This, gentlemen, is the praise I give to Socrates. At the same time, I have seasoned it with a little fault-finding and have told you his rude behavior towards me. I am not the only person he has treated thus. There are Charmides, son of Glaucon, Euthydemus, son of Diocles, and any number of others. And now I want to come back to the question of Socrates' wisdom. We need to see that Socrates not only can talk about spiritual matters, but that he actually has traversed the whole ladder of beautiful objects so as to attain even to beauty itself. Knowing this, however, is beyond Alcibiades' experience. Plato then gave us the next best thing. Here is an account that Alcibiades added without even seeming to understand the significance of it. Immersed in some problem at dawn, he stood on the same spot considering it. And when he found it a tough one, he would not give it up, but stood there trying. The time drew on to midday, and the men began to notice him and said to one another in wonder, "Socrates has been standing there in a study ever since dawn." The end of it was that in the evening, some of the Ionians, after they had supped, this time it was summer, brought out their mattresses and rugs and took their sleep in the cool. Thus they waited to see if he would go on standing all night too. He stood till dawn came and the sun rose, then walked away after offering a prayer to the sun. Why did he stand all night? What was he doing? We don't have Socrates' first-hand account, so we don't know for sure. We do know he stood all night, though, oblivious to the weather and to the crowds of people watching him and whispering. Did he experience a direct encounter with beauty itself? Was he immersed in that light, touching truth itself? We will never know for sure, but we can wonder and offer a prayer to the sun. What do you think Socrates experienced when he stood all night? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. Till next time.